One. Hey guys, this is Dartamos with Dartamos Dominion. Welcome to a new series that we had the introduction before, but now we have our co-host with us, my partner in crime, Balin. Say hi.
I'm back for more punishment.
So Novell, I brought you to the co-host chair because I wanted your pop skill expertise right from the beginning.
I specialize in this, so you got the right man.
The me and team, how are you doing, dude?
Great. Hello, everyone.
Now, I've seen your comments a bunch of times, and you just popped in here, and we got you in on the episode right away, so I'm really excited to actually have you in here.
Yeah, should be fun.
Zan, dude, it's good to have you back, dude.
It's good to be here.
Now, I'm hoping that this series I actually get to talk to Zan, because in the previous series, for some reason, because he's got the letter Z, you were always, like, right below where I couldn't see you. Everybody else's name was above. And so, I'm going to try to make an active effort to see the Z. But if you want to talk more, Zan, what I would suggest is that you change your name to A-Zan.
All right, I will do that.
You willing to do that, dude?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Well, we did turn 1 already, and we're going to move into turn 2, where we can actually see stuff. We have a bunch of messages, but I'm really looking forward to seeing who named their prophet and who didn't. Dude, Azan, you're awesome! Oh, thank you, Azan. Balin, do you want to read this?
Okay. A messenger from Pangea arrived. I flip-flop a little on the minutian. One second. I'm gonna pull up again and start again.
By the way, GC, how are you doing, dude?
Hey, how's it going, dude? Doing all right. Just got home from work.
Perun, how are you doing, dude?
I'm alright. I just woke up.
Okay.
Aussie.
So too long. Didn't read. He tweaked his build a little bit. He originally had cold and some swiftness and snow move, switched to heat, and then he went back to cold with some chakras and snow move. He's got some guesses on enemy pretenders. He thinks Arco went Frostfather, Air 4, Earth 4, Death 4. He's a little more surprised to see a Titan of Heaven, or a Titan of the Otherworld, or Hound of Hades. Okay. Marverni, Wind Walker, larger, Poison Res, maybe, subject to more points. I think Marverni went regen larger boars, because that's what I would do just to mess with people.
You know what's funny, Balin, is that everybody knows this already, because we're going to have the interview episodes beforehand, and what I love about this is the Windwalker was actually, I think it's correct.
Huh.
So because I wasn't around for all of them, you'd be going in blind. Right. Got it. Chakra,
No, it's hilarious, because Windwalker's weird, isn't it?
it boosts the map move.
There's only 1 or 2 nations that would take it.
Yeah, because it's only for your sacreds.
I would take it on any nation that you almost only use sacreds.
So I'm not going to have you read all this, Balin.
Arco's got some. Arco's got some great guesses. So not Arco. Pangea's got great guesses.
Okay, so is there anything because I can pause this and people can read it. Does that sound good?
Yeah. I would just want to put in one comment and say that this is a perfect example of title reading. You can gain a lot of information by looking at the pretender gods' titles, and from there you can pretty much guess sometimes what pretenders were chosen, as well as what blesses you can expect out of a potential opponent.
And there's a pretty useful tool on the wiki for this. You can actually look up what a lot of the titles mean directly.
Can you, Novell, where do I see the titles at?
So click on the name for the god.
So, statistics, pretenders of the world, then click on their name.
Okay.
And at the bottom of the description under buildings, you'll say the nation worships the pretender, whatever the name of the pretender is, and then at the end of that will be a series of titles. And so King of Air, for instance, very obviously allows you to see that there is a large air bless. Lord of Illusion and Masquerade also refers to air, because you can think of phantasmal wolves and illusionary warriors. Supreme Messenger, Herald of the Gods might actually be someone's name.
GC, how often do you see Windwalker?
Almost never. I see it very rarely. The problem with it is, so it is useful if you're, or it would be useful if you were going to play a very sacred heavy strategy. But honestly, there's not a ton of nations that are that sacred heavy, and Windwalker is kind of like, it's tactically useful sometimes to have higher map move, but there are other ways to get mobility for mages, and mobility for masses of troops doesn't often matter in situations where you're going to have a lot of troops. Like if you have enough troops for it to matter, probably you have some non-sacreds in there, if that makes sense. Now, Marverni is kind of one of the cases where I could maybe see it, because Marverni does tend to have huge stacks of sacred boars, but I don't see it often.
Now, Balan, you said that you've seen it before. Now, is it normally in blitzes, or where have you seen this before?
I took it as pan in a blitz so that I could end up on somebody's capital turn 3 with 18 white centaurs.
Did it work?
Oh yeah, it worked. I was really upset about it. It worked really well.
It's absolutely terrible. Azan, how often do you see? How often do you look at the pretender and like do all of this math stuff?
I never have done any of this pretender naming shenanigans, so absolutely never.
I think it's worth, because you can get tipped off to some pretty dangerous stuff pretty early. For example, if you're looking on the wiki right now, Supreme Messenger Herald of the Gods is air greater than or equal to 5. And one of the other titles, I think it's the Evolution Masquerade, is suggest scale magic greater than or equal to 0. So, like, this guy didn't go Hellblast because of that. And sometimes you will see stuff that is questionable, and that'll alert you that maybe you should at least have in the back of your mind that they took something that's dangerous to you in the opening year. Also, the number of titles reflects how much Dominion score they have. You'll usually see 3.
Can you tell me, let's go over an example right here. He who steals the gates of death, Prince of Strength, King of Winds. Do you have the ability to look those 3 up real quick and tell us what they are?
Yeah, I'm using Control F on the pretender, on the wiki for pretender title. So Gates of Death is Earth greater than or equal to 4, or Earth and Death both are greater than or equal to 4.
Strength is also Earth.
Yeah, and then Winds is air.
Yeah.
So what do you think that this is? Let's throw that over to let's send that to Perun. What do you think that this Arco strategy is going to be?
Oh, you can do a lot with Arco with ED, A. Geez. I'm still hoping for some scales and some minor mage blessing, but it's probably not what it is. Or maybe a little bit of a stat bless on the Wind Riders. I don't know. We didn't see anything in those names that suggested a big incarnate bless, did we?
No,
I think you're right.
Nothing crazy like that. So minor, little bit of a scales, but scales with a little bit of a buff on the Wind Riders, maybe.
Oh, this would be good. Mian, what does this mean? Leaf Lord in the hit one.
No Dominion.
Okay, look it up. Leaf Lord is nature greater than or equal to 3 and male, which that tells us less than female because there's fewer female gods. Hidden one is nature greater than or equal to 4. Also, it's notable that there's only 2 titles here. That means that they did not take much Dominion score, 2 to 5. So they have 5 or less Dominion.
Zan, what do you think that this is going to be? Zan, do you have a guess on what high nature is going to be for this one? And you said, what is the hidden one again? Sorry, I missed that.
Nature.
Let me look it up again. Nature greater than or equal to 4.
Okay, so what do you think he's doing with this nature?
Regen.
Regen.
Okay, so I think that we can move on from the pretenders at this point. Or did you guys say something? Was there something else that you wanted to go over with that?
We got another message from Pangea, another one from Helheim.
Well, he didn't mention Theranos. Oh, he didn't mention Theranos at all. Okay, so we're gonna look over this, and I'm not gonna read this. If you wanna like pause the stream, because I want you guys' opinions on this without looking at his. We got one from Helheim as well. Okay, refresh here. Does anybody know the Latin for this?
You're up, Zan.
Sic Parvis Magna.
I don't know.
Really ringing up real, so.
Okay, so we'll have to look at that in between. So we
I
have.
mean, you normally find that on like rings.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's like college graduation rings. I think it's great things from small beginnings or something like that.
Okay. Okay, so nothing. No animals are harmed. Rhino. How often do you guys do you guys rename your prophets? Let's go with Perun. I'm kind of curious in this one for you, Perun. Do you rename your prophets?
You have to do it, or you will lose the game.
It's true. It's mandatory.
You are destined to terrible things if you do not rename your prophets.
I agree.
Oh no.
If you don't rename it, I have to go into your turn file and rename a whole bunch of your mages into random things. I did it to Perun.
That was without me
saying
having a
that,
prophet, but yes. Renaming is good for your chances.
Yes. Otherwise, you'll be cursed and you'll get a 50 unrest event on your cap.
Oh no, it's Latin. Fortune. It's fortune favor the bold, I think.
No, it's
fortune favor the bold. No, that's not.
No,
That's
Stick
not
Cover
the
Smarter.
correct phrase.
it is something like greatness from small beginnings or from small things to great challenges or whatever.
No, he's talking
Yeah.
about the Hellcarl's name, I think. That's up here right now.
Oh, Faber.
Yeah.
Favore sue questa fortuna. Yeah, I'm not sure. We're gonna have to look this up. Or we
I'm
need
pretty
to,
sure that one might be fortune favors.
Now, Google translates this as each man is the maker of his own fortune.
Oh, nice.
Oh well, good thing I don't have anything to do with Latin.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm useless here.
Okay, what the GC? You know, is this something from anime?
I have
Do you
no
know?
idea.
Oni-chan Daisuke.
So
yes.
okay, that's Big Brother Daisuke.
So, well, look, I'm better with my Japanese than I am with my Latin, but they misspelled Oni-chan, and I think Daisuke is I love you, so I love you, brother. Or
I
something
love
like
you,
that.
Oni-chan.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
And if you're gonna play Yomi, you might as well, I guess. But come on, man.
Be
I love you, big
utterly
brother.
degenerate weeb. Why does nobody do anything in the language I actually speak? Why not French?
I mean, they are doing a little bit in English.
In this game.
We got Jimin in here.
So,
Okay, wait,
you're gonna notice something. Everybody but Kirby, who was playing Umbar, profited their troop leader and not their scout.
I was too distracted by super appreciating that that Aladdin joke.
Oh my goodness, I missed it. That was brilliant. Okay, so why would you profit your scout and why wouldn't you, Colin?
I always profit the leader for some extra hitting power in combat, but profiting your scout allows you to leave your Dominion candles all over the place as you scout around.
Which one do you prefer, Zan? Do you normally do the scout or do you normally do the commander?
It depends if I need that hitting power that Balin mentioned, if I use Sacred Troops that need Divine Blessing. If I don't have the Sacred Troops and my units can advance on their own, then I'll do the Scout, because that controls where I put the minion rather than having it wherever the heck my army is.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the profit or the pretenders list. I'm going to have you guys all pick a nation and then tell me what you think with their starting location. So you're going to be up first, Dan, because you're on the top of the list.
Okay.
Who do you want to take?
Let's do Ubar since we spoke of him last.
Okay, so Uvar is right. Okay,
He didn't get a wasteland spawn?
That's a great position.
Zan, I wanna ask you, this province in specific, how awesome this is.
I'll fight a war over that.
Yeah.
So a little bit of confession. We were talking. I was doing his interview, and I'm looking at this the first turn. And I'm like, oh man, what do you think about your position? And I'm like, he's like, oh well, I need resources, and I'm like, oh well, 20 something has a lot of resources, and he's like, I didn't know that. You're not supposed to tell me. And I felt really bad until I saw this site, and then the whole rest of the interview I had to be quiet about the steel ovens. Zan, why is this site so amazing?
Because you can construct things at 20% off, and it stacks with hammers.
What does that mean? 20% off.
So if you have something that costs 5 gems, or 10 gems, for example, it'll be 8 gems to craft it instead of 10.
Yeah, 5 for 4.
And then
Okay.
you can further get a hammer and drop it down to 6 gems.
Okay, so it's going to save a lot of gems in the long term. Now, what do you think about his standard, like his expansion area? Is there anything of note?
He's got a lot of resources. He's very close to 2 wastelands. It isn't in this case, but usually on these kind of maps, those provinces with like cities on them tend to have really high population. Not in this case, unfortunately, but
Well,
that's a very good spot.
We didn't talk about the map at all, but when it has one province, like one hex is a small size, these ones are 3, so they're bigger, and then the 2 are medium-sized provinces. So it's like at a glance, you can see how big the province is. I really like that map.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
So, Balin, you're next. Who do you want to take?
You know what? Take Arco.
Okay. So let's look at Arco. Where is it? There it goes.
He should spawn
Okay.
in the Highlands. He didn't spawn. Oh my lord. Okay. So Arco's got a glorious 6 province cap circle. But however, he's Sloth Arco, which makes me super sad. Because in my heart of hearts, Arco is best played with production, in my opinion. But that's fine. So nothing around him cannot be killed by wind riders. So I say like a party of 6 wind riders will clear that cap circle easily.
What
He's
about
got no
this one?
he's got no special sites near him. The fact that he appears to be close to the coast, which, depending on which coast it is going to be a big problem.
Like, how would it... So you're saying the Wind Riders can kill this heavy cap?
Yeah, hold an attack rear.
Okay, will they take... While they're retreating, will the heavy cap kill the Wind Rider?
No, because if you pull up the stats of a Wind Rider, they have something like 16, 17 defense.
Okay. So you need to get a lot of people.
They have good
What's that?
prot and defense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they might have like the highest mounted defense, or at least one of them. Right, they have really
the highest
high.
mounted defense is on the elves on ponies.
Yeah.
Okay, so GC, you get to pick the
But
next.
yeah,
Let's look at Pangea, just because I love the names of their triumvirate god.
Oh, let's hit that really quickly. What do you mean by that?
So they have 3 names there. Instead of like everybody else just has 1 god name, which is usually silly. They have 3. Lie down, try not to cry, and cry a lot. Which means that they've taken a triad god. I'm trying to remember which of those are available to Pangea, and I can't remember at the moment. I think they get the gray ones. I think they get the Titan of the Crossroads. So I'm not sure which one it is, but they've gotten, instead of 1 deity, they have taken a god that's essentially split into 3 parts.
Okay, I brought up the list. Which ones do we see right here?
so it's the size 1, and
So
then it's the girl with the Banefire torches.
Yeah, okay, so they've got the gray ones, and they've got the Banefire torches is, I think, the Titan of the Crossroads. It's the Titan, yeah, that one. Titan of Crossroads. Okay, so actually looking at their paths might tell us which one, looking at their titles might tell us which one they've taken.
Remember, the gray ones have normal rainbow paths, so they can technically be anything.
They can be, but there's certain things are more likely. At least this will tell us. So, Vessel of Might, Queen of the Cold North. That sounds to me, especially because it has a relatively low dominion, that sounds to me like Pangea has taken the gray ones, and they've taken a wide rainbow.
Skill cold greater than or equal to 3 on Pangea, huh? Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's no Niflheim in the game, so...
So
yeah.
where's Pangea's start point?
Oh,
that
I wrote the wrong one.
He wrote it long term, but it's that double forest next to the double mountains near the lake.
Yeah, give me a second. Okay, there we go. Right here.
Okay. So their god isn't out yet. Based on looking at the province here. So they took it dormant. Or imprisoned, I guess.
Probably dormant, given the scales.
Yeah. Now here's one kind of sad thing. It looks like there's not a lot of forests near them.
Way over here.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
forest that they can take without bumping into somebody.
Yeah, for Pangea, that's actually kind of horrifying. One of Pangea's Pangea is still Pangea; they're still strong. But one of Pangea's big advantages is, of course, the ability to cast the spell that instantly spawns forts in forests. And without casting that spell, they can only ever build palisades, so level 1 shitty forts. So they're going to need to basically go to war with somebody and take their forests off them, which fortunately they can do because they're Pangea. They've also not got a ton of resources available, it looks like. For Pangea, that doesn't hurt them all that much, because a lot of their troops are quite low resource. They've got... it doesn't look like this area is anything special income-wise either. So, to be honest, I would categorize this as kind of a sucky start position. Like, they're close to the lake, they don't have their preferred terrain around them, the provinces around them aren't super exceptional, except that one that you just passed, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the one full of barbarians.
Yeah, exactly. But since they're Pangea, they should be able to pretty much overcome those disadvantages without too much trouble. And if I was them, looking at this map, I would just go, okay, so my first attack is going to be to the southeast. And just roll down along that side of the lake and kill whoever it is that spawned down in that direction and take all their shit.
Do you think that he'll try to choke him off, or do you think that he'll actually try for a rush?
I think as Pangea, trying for a rush is almost always defensible.
What do you think about a rush versus Armistice?
Yeah, just take it. So Arcocephali in the really early game, Arcocephali relies on Wind Riders doing basically attack rear shenanigans in order to succeed in really early wars before magic becomes a big deal. And that works great on indies, and it's trash against players. It's trash especially against Pangea, because Pangea tends to have heavily blessed cavalry sacreds who are not vulnerable to being alpha striked by a bunch of birds dropping from the sky. And they can just give the damage right back. So I would expect in an early, year 0, year 1 war between Pangea and Arco, I would expect Pangea to fucking roll them, assuming they're roughly comparable players.
I'd want to make it quick, though, because I have a small concern about a Dormant Titan on Arco, given their skills and setup.
That's fair.
Novell, your next one.
We'll take Theranos.
Okay, what do you think about his starting location?
I love Theranos' starting location. Theranos' starting location has a cap that's connected to 2 land provinces. That is amazing. Being in the middle of that lake sucks, but being next to 2 pieces of land as Theranos makes me a very happy man. So in my case, one of Theranos' greatest strengths is the difference in troop type and commander type it gets from having land forts. It gets access to a human that's been trained by a dwarf that has a forge bonus. And that human spawns with Earth always and can either go Earth 2, Fire Earth, Air Earth, or Water Earth as its cross paths. And so this guy right here is bread and butter for a lot of different things, but specifically just for forging. When you put a hammer on this guy and get him to work on forging your cheap 5-gem items as Theros to equip your Melina thugs, you can really start churning out a lot of thugs. Upwards of 3 to 4 thugs a turn. Now, they're light thugs, true to be told, but they do a lot for you because they have your bless on them, whatever your bless might be, and that's a lot of the power that Theranos can bring to bear. And having the ability to put 2 forts right there and start recruiting immediately, I would expand onto land before I even touch the water. My first 600 goal would be a fort right there in that swamp.
What's interesting is you say that, that's one of the things as an underwater nation. You don't have to go after this underwater. Are there any other nations that you'd be worried about, Novell, that would come in and take your water?
Looking at this list, I guess it would be Yomi primarily, and that would be a big thug with a water breathing ring or something along those lines. I don't even know if he has the ability to, but he has air, so I know that he can get access through air for the ability to go underwater.
There's no
I think that
native
would take a while.
water. Yeah, it's still, but yeah, that's what. In my Yomi game, we got underwater through that, but we had to buy rings. So.
Like it's really hard to fight Therados underwater. The underwater penalty is pretty punishing for most things, as well as ghosts are pretty annoying to deal with. And Therados is going to fort that entire lake properly because they only get their free spawn once a fort has been placed.
Okay, Perrin, you
So
get the next
before
one.
we move on quickly, that province that you clicked on, that swamp, is actually a rare indie pop type. It is the Azure Mage with the 1 Jolt Axeman bodyguard. So, with Lucid's improved casting, which I believe this game has, that one mage will Frozen Heart spam.
That should be a big problem against the Zerados troops, but I've seen it do nasty things. Perrin, what is your pick, dude?
Let's go see Machaka.
Okay, now Machaka is being played by Sakane, who is probably going to be one of the front runners in this game, in my opinion. So I'm kind of curious as to how steroided he's going to get by this start, or if he's going to get hurt by it. So what are you thinking, dude?
So Throne Cap Circle, it's undead. Take it or leave it in that case. You've still got a nice big cap circle otherwise, so it's not going to hold you back too much. You can afford to take it later, even though it's a pretty useless province. There's some high value stuff in the cap circle. So how valuable is that top right one? 112. Okay, so there's some nice, rich, high income provinces that are worth taking, and it's balanced out with some slightly easier ones. Is that a whole bunch of barbs? Sorry, the resolution's not great. Is that a whole bunch of barbarians in? Yeah, it is. Okay, so we've got barbarians and whatnot. So Machaka's not going to want to run straight into barbarians in large numbers, depending on what sort of expansion type he's doing. I think we might have been seeing, was he training elephants as his first turn expand? Yeah, okay, so elephants. Yeah, elephants won't do barbarians, so he'll have to go do probably heavy infantry slingers and whatnot first. This is an okay start. I think being on the lake is never a great thing in a game where Therados is, but you're at the northern end of the lake, so Therados isn't going to be your problem first, most likely. No, this is decent enough.
Excellent. So I have a question for you, and I've been meaning to wait to ask for this. How much pre-game diplomacy do you do?
Not a huge amount pre-game because you don't know where people have spawned. It's more like turn 1, turn 2. Once you have a broad idea of where people are, that's when you can start chatting. If you don't know where people have spawned, then it's a bit naff, really.
Have you done fixed starts before?
Some of the games GC set up have been fixed starts, and then people have gone in, loaded up the game, and seen where everyone is. And I think that game had naps that were signed before the game started.
Well, it's okay. How many did you sign before the game started?
2, I want to say.
I did not.
I do it too.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I don't like fixed starts is because you get those snaps at the beginning. Did you prefer it, or do you like the random?
I think the one thing that I liked about the fixed starts was that if anyone was completely boned by spawn location, that was the window to complain about it and regen the map before the game started. That was the advantage. Otherwise, the whole let's all negotiate before the game started took a little bit of the mystery out of it for me.
Chipotle, are you there, dude? I see that you're muted. Okay, we're gonna assume that he's got mic issues or just listening in. So, Mian, what is you get to pick your nation next. Which one do you want?
Oh, I suppose we'll take a look at Yomi. Where are they at?
This is, I think you got the coolest one, by the way, if I can find it. If you see Yomi, oh, here we go.
Okay, so interesting. Not too happy to see elephants in the cap circle immediately. And who are their neighbors? Because Yomi is one of those nations I feel like you really want to get off the ground running. So you would want to be thinking about targets almost immediately. I don't know. I play them Hellblast. I think that it's hard to play them anything else.
It is. Vanheim, Marverni, and Helheim.
2.
What's this, right?
Bar 2. They're close.
Ubar, but they got like the
Ubar
lake
across
between
the
them.
lake. It's only a 3 prov difference.
And then Pan.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to these larger provinces.
So, what do you think of their expansion possibility?
I think they can expand fine as long as they took a good bless for the Dione. I'm not sure who I would target first.
I would be real tempted by those Amazons, to be honest.
That's
as
yeah,
a first
that's
expand,
what.
though?
Well,
I mean,
maybe
it's
not
a
as a
great province. Don't get me wrong. It's got a gem site, and those are a good unit type to lock up.
I mean, maybe not as a first expand, but pretty early on, because it's not even really the gem. It's getting that air astral magic going.
Yeah,
Well, I want to just
especially
interject
astral.
something.
Well,
With Lucid's AI casting mod, and if those Amazons spawn with 2 astral pearls, they will power of the spheres and then soul slay anything sent at them.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that would be a little unpleasant.
I think it's story time,
are
Balin.
much more dangerous.
The only reason we know that exists is because it happened to me. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Yomi also has a huge cap circle.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Balin had this huge army of like 500 guys under one commander expanding, and then that one guy
26,
died, and he lost all
26
500
guys. I didn't lose a single troop. I just lost the leader, and it was only 26.
If you make me tell the story, it gets bigger and worse. Okay, so real quick, what Yomi has these two, the cave province and the mountain province. And what's interesting is this is a cave province. Do they get their special spawn in caves if there's not a mountain attached?
I actually don't know. Usually they have a mountain if there's a cave.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Does anybody know this?
Not off the top of my head. You know who you should ask? Herdalas. Herdalas plays Yomi all the time. He loves them.
If you can ask him about that, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna talk to Grippa and see what he finds out.
If you would take a look at the nation screen, we might have some information about it.
Oh no, Yomi's nation screen doesn't display anything worth viewing besides the Diones.
So what's the question about Yomi's free spawn in caves?
Okay, so normally they get some special free spawn in Highlands and Mountains?
Yeah.
But this has a cave and it doesn't have a mountain peg, which is really interesting.
I mean, he still wants to fort that up because that's a good indie type.
Yeah. Although
They get
Earth
Astral.
in there.
He's got 2 astral types in his cap circle. That is insane.
It's not guaranteed, but those dog shamans can do Earth Astral. And
Dan,
that's,
can you... What exactly are these? What type of mages do you get from this?
If I remember correctly, Earth, Air, Nature... No, not Air. Earth, Astral, Nature, and Death. They can get Nature 2. And cross-pass any of those.
Okay, Herdalas has failed me. He doesn't know either.
There was one game I played, I had... all my only recruitable mages were Fire, Astral, and Blood. And one cave province of those guys single-handedly broke me into every other path.
There's 2 versions of the shaman. One has nature and a random, and one only has 1 random. So you can't get your Earth Astral cross path. Oh, actually, no, you can. Sorry, there's a 100% and then a 50%. So you can.
Yes.
You can get crystal forges off that one. That's cool.
Yeah,
you can
those
get
guys are
crystals
amazing.
from these guys?
Wait, hold up. Point of order. The Cynocephalian Shaman that starts with nature is different. That is specifically the MA Ind version, and it has
the
different
indie one.
randoms.
I've found it. Yeah, I found the indie one. So astral, death, nature at 1 level, and then a 50% chance of air, earth, or nature again.
So it does get air. There you go. That's right. That one province broke me into every other path that I couldn't do, having Fire, Astral, and Blood.
The only downside for
Bugs up
Yomi
water.
here for that would be primitive forts, so they won't be able to get them as quickly. They're indie types as a normal nation would.
That's unfortunate.
But it's still worth doing to get some astral.
The thing that's funny about Yomi is that they do have the primitive forts, so if you can make a mage without a fort, I mean, like the fort being there, the fort doesn't matter. And these guys don't need forts, so you just plop down a lab and just make Naminari. They need islands or mountains, and look what he's sitting next to. Lab, and he's at three mages, I mean, like 1.5 per turn, but still.
Well, that's a dead end for him for a while.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because he can't cross that river, can he?
Yep,
And
he
does
either
he
has
have
to
to-
cross the river or go into a throne province early. So
And,
that's the
does
Never
best
he
take
problem.
have-
hold on Yomi
Yeah,
because their cold free spawn is worse than their heat free spawn.
What were you saying, GC?
Yeah, I was about to say, I suspected that he had heat scales, and so he'll actually, once his dominion spreads, he'll never be able to cross that river until he gets
Wait,
some amphibious items on his thugs.
but doesn't the die only fly?
No.
I don't think Dione
No.
flies.
No, they only does not.
They don't. What's interesting though, I took Cold Scales Yomi, and I mean it wasn't that big of a deal. You lose one type of unit and you get another type. So it was not the end of the world. I was playing Disciples with an Niflheim, so like we had to take Cold 3, and we did fine. We won the game, but it wasn't too terrible. So
You're not really living off your free spawn in particular as Yomi. Like that's not, at least for a while. You're not picking Yomi
Oh
to
my
get your
God.
free spawn and beat someone down.
This starting position, though, go down a little bit. The swamp.
Right?
Sweet Jesus.
Oh,
Come
God.
good catch, Zan. Good catch.
It's fucking Astral Yomi up in here.
So
He's gonna have
So if
to
Grippa
win.
loses this game now, we are forever bashing Grippa because the game has given him the W with 4 different types of astral mages.
Yeah.
Crystal
He has
Mages.
Astral now. Yeah, he has Astral now in 4 paths. Astral
He has
Air,
Astral Air,
Nature.
Astral Earth, which are like arguably 2 of the best If you're gonna have a communion, like nature, Earth, and Air are the best ones for troops, right?
Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
get
but
you all the buffs.
you're skipping the big problem though. How does he afford any of it?
He doesn't.
Yomi's problem is that you're not going to be able to afford anything, and especially once the Oni tide starts and your unrest levels start spiking, your income's going to be, yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
You're rushing somebody out, or you're going to struggle normally.
Those 3 mages are all sacred, so you just recruit those instead of your national ones.
That's fair enough too. That's a really good point.
Death to the national roster.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna. I think it's gonna end up being Dione and then independent communions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would do in this situation.
Okay, guys, we're gonna cut it right here so that we can have like not a 2-hour episode. And we will come back and we will finish off the rest of the nations. I want to thank my co-host for today, Zan. Thanks a lot for joining.
Ooh, it was fun.
Balin, thanks a lot again.
I'm still not bitter about Zan taking my top spot.
You can always change your name to A Balin. GC, thanks for joining. I was really excited to have you right here from the beginning.
Absolutely, dude. Happy to be here.
Novell, thanks for ending the turn and making sure that you were the first one on the channel. I really appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, of course, man. Always here to help.
Perun, thanks again. I really appreciate your insight on diplomacy, and I am terrible at it.
It's always worth waking up for, man.
Mian, it is wonderful to have you in here, and not just in the comments, but also in an episode now.
Yeah, glad to be here. I'm sure all these starts will go perfectly.
Okay, guys, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.